Welcome, secondary educators. Let's take a look at the natural log function. This is something that's going to require us to deal with some calculus that we may not have wanted to deal with, but you kind of have to if you're going to talk about the natural log function. So let's begin by talking about some function that I'm going to call a of x. And a of x is the integral from 1 to x of 1 over t dt. And to remind us of what that means, because we haven't done calculus in a while, what that means is that we have the graph of 1 over t from 1 to x, and different values of x generate different areas under the curve. Every x value generates a unique area under the curve from 1 to x, and so we plot that function and call it a of x. That's the idea. So let's ask the fundamental question about this function. Is a of x times y equal to a of x plus a of y? Why do we care? Because if it happens to be the case that a of x times y is a of x plus a of y, then this function is a log function, and that's what we want. So that's the idea. That's what we're going after. Can we prove it? Sure we can. What's a of x times y? It's the integral from 1 to x times y of 1 over t dt, right? I can spell 1 over t dt. But what's this? Well, this is the integral from 1 to x of 1 over t dt plus the integral from x to x times y of 1 over t dt. I mean, that's a property of integrals we know. Integral from here to there, integral from there to the other is integral from here to the other, right? That's Calc 1. Well, let's do something with this. Let's make a u substitution where the u substitution I'm thinking about is that u is t over x. And if u is t over x, then du is 1 over x dt. Now, mind you, in this construct, t is the variable, x is a number. So the derivative of variable over number is 1 over number. That's the du dt part of this. So what does that mean? Well, that means that this is the integral from 1 to x of 1 over t dt plus the integral of. So, oh boy, well that's going to be a doozy. When t is x, u is 1, and when t is x times y, u is y. And this part turns out to be 1 over u du. Well, what does that mean? That means that this part is a of x, and this part is a of y, because that variable is a dummy variable, so it might as well be t's there. We don't care. As needed. Well, why does that matter? Well, that matters because there's a theorem, and the theorem says, let alpha be some positive real number that isn't 1. If you have a function from 0 to infinity as a domain and real numbers as a codomain, and if that function is oh, that's a terrible, what is happening? If that function is continuous with f of 1 equal to 0, f of alpha equal to 1, and f of x, y equals f of x plus f of y for all x and y in the domain, then, and here's the kicker, the function has to be a log function base A. It has to be. And here's our proof. It will suffice to show that f of alpha to the gamma is gamma for all gamma. If we can show that f of alpha to the gamma is gamma for all gamma, then this will all happen and it will be a log function, right? So we assume that all of this happens, and we want to show that it's a log function. How do you show that it's a log function? Well, you go exponential. If we input a to the gamma, I'm sorry, alpha to the gamma, then the log of alpha to the gamma, base alpha, is gamma, and that's enough. So let's go. If m is a positive integer, then by hypothesis, f of alpha to the m is f of alpha plus plus a whole bunch of f of alphas, so that there are m copies. And f of alpha is 1 by hypothesis, and that's m. Check. Well, what if m over n is a positive rational number? Is it still true that f of alpha to the m over n is m over n? Well, consider the following. Consider that m is f of alpha to the m. We established that up here. And since we established that up here, we can use it. So what is f of alpha to the m? Well, that's f of alpha to the m over n to the n. And by hypothesis, this is n times f of alpha to the m over n. Right? Because we know by hypothesis that if you raise something to the integer power, well, there it is. We're okay. So m is equal to this. And so that implies that f of alpha to the m over n is m over n, as needed. And this result holds for negative integers also, and negative rational numbers also, for similar reasons. So let's go to the big result. Now, let the sequence of r sub n's be a sequence of rational numbers that converges to gamma, which is a real number. Well, because f is continuous and the exponential function is continuous, the following is true. F of alpha to the gamma is f of alpha to the limit as n approaches infinity of the r sub n's, right? Because gamma is the limit of the r sub n's. But because the exponential function is continuous, we can pull that limit to the front. And because f is continuous, we can pull this limit out. But all of the r sub n's, they're all rational numbers, and we know that rational numbers are okay with this theorem. So this is the limit as n approaches infinity of r sub n. But what are the r sub n's getting closer and closer to? Gamma. And so now, for all real numbers gamma, we have that f of alpha to the gamma is gamma. And because f of alpha to the gamma is gamma for all real numbers, this is always true for all real gamma, then this must be true for all real x, and we're done. So therefore, if you ever find a function, ever, whose domain is positive real numbers, passes through 1, 0, passes through alpha 1, and satisfies this property as the log function does, it has to be as the a of x function did, then it has to be this log function. In fact, it's base e. So that's the big takeaway from here. Therefore, a of x is the log function base e. And that is no small takeaway. No small takeaway. Okay, very well. I think we've played probably too long with this because I've gone past my 10 minutes, so I'll make the other screencast shorter.